All right. Good morning. By the way, it's 6:28. I'm still working on this channel here, editing some of these videos and things like that. So as I'm kind of going through some of these videos, I'm kind of looking at some of the things and spaces that's. I'm not even gonna edit that out at this point. So like I was saying, um, at this point, I'm kind of like feel like I'm a little bit everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to really get back into the story because I feel like, it's already kind of been talked over a little bit. And then at the same time, I don't want to resurface emotions and things like that and feelings, you know, not for me because it's me, but in case she just so happens to, see this, I don't know, it's my YouTube channel, we already knows how that goes. I don't want her to have those feelings resurfacing and thinking that like, oh, here we go, I got to hear all this shit again and things like that. But and so anyway, to go ahead and get started. So one of the reasons why I actually end up here, like I said, y'all know where I'm at. I'm in Bexar County. I'm in San Antonio, out here in San Antonio, Texas. So I ended up out here, basically, shit, I don't know, like around 2000 and. These years been blending in for me lately. I'm getting old. I'm 37. May not be old, but I'm getting there. But with that said, I think it was like 2022 or 2022. Yeah, because but anyway, so I'm a travel electrician, or I was apprentice travel electrician. Actually got that job through one of my good friends, Andy, or a previous friend, Andy, excuse me. But anyway, so with that said, we ended up working here, coming out here for a project that we had to need to be done for a year. It was, of course, those projects, again, I was an electrician. It was all commercial projects, basically working on all hotels and motels. A few hotels or motels, well, hotels that we worked on was the Westin, Marriott, and the JW. Just, doing basic electrical work, hanging up sconces and things like that, running wire. Of course, sometimes we'll start stuff from the ground up. If you've been an electrician, you know what I'm talking about. But with that said, I came out here, you know what I'm saying? We had a job for a year. I'm staying out here, I think it was Broadway or Brackenridge or something like that. So, yeah, so I ended up out here, fell in love with the city, basically, you know what I mean? I never, I've been to San Antonio when I was younger, but, when you're a kid, you don't remember too much. Because my aunt was stationed out here, military, she was in the Army. But I came out here as an adult, and I haven't been out here in a while, and me, shit, I grew up in San Diego and shit like that. My family's military, so I'm used to hills and shit like that, and so being in the valley for shit, man, 12 years. I even got into that, but we'll save that story for another day. So how I ended up in Texas in the first place. But with that said, I was working, like I said, and we're stationed out here working. The last place we were is actually, I believe, in we're in Fort Worth. That was the last job out there, and we came out here to San Antonio. Was the next job. So with that, we're here again. I fell in love with the city of San Antonio. I was a tourist at the time, so I'm enjoying all the little touristy spots. We're downtown. I'm on the Riverwalk and all that extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, I really like it here. And then on top of that, I actually have a 14-year-old son that's actually out here with his mother and everything. So to me, I was like, this is another way for me to, get out here and be closer to my son. Because me traveling, I really didn't have a home at that time because I'm on the road. And then the company I work for, they pay for our housing. So we got really good apartments. We had our own rooms and things like that. So it was decent. So with that said, I was kind of living the life, enjoying it, thinking, I really like it out here, as far as where we were and just kind of in the city. But again, I was a tourist. So I was in that touristy space. So yeah, so I was kind of like, basing on the decision to stay, once this job was ending, and I was actually thinking about, maybe, quitting, the job I was in, because I got to the point where I was kind of tired of traveling and everything, and I'm thinking about my son, I kind of want to be a little stable and stuff. I'm saving up enough money. I think San Antonio's a spot. I see there's, potential out here because the city's growing and things like that. And, I like to think I'm a business savvy entrepreneur. I mean, I am. I'm smart with certain things. I just don't have the capital, but I'm working on it. That was one of the reasons here in my previous story saying I was going to the military, things I wanted to do in my future and stuff like that. So kind of came out here and things like that. So it made sense to me. to just move out here. So, but with that said, while I was out here, um, I ended up getting in a car accident. Not a bad one, but I mean it was a fender bender. People can't drive out here in San Antonio. So yeah, so I ended up kind of like not towing my car, but to the point where it was out of commission. All right, so I remind you, I'm not from here, but I'm traveling. So I had a 2000 and 16 um, brand new first owner, by the way, Chrysler 200. I love that car. I really did. I love that car. Everything about it. So, but anyway, and it was paid off. Okay, so that really hurt me when I got hit. So, but with that said, I had to let that go. So I'm here working. I'm getting paid decent. I'm getting paid like 1,200 a week or whatever. So a week. They pay us every week. So it was decent. And then like I said, they pay for our housing and everything. So I was really just stacking money. Um, so that was one of the convenience of working with this company. So with that, I was like, you know what? I got my car wrecked. I'm kind of trying to stack up a little bit more money because then I still have bills and everything like that, and sending money to people. People borrow money because they know I have it. So and I don't say no. If I have it, I'm gonna help you out. But with that said, I end up we go to Home Depot so goddamn much. It's getting to the point where I was spending so much money in there. I was like, man, I need this 10% discount. I thought they was getting a 10% discount. Couldn't find out we didn't. So I was like, I was gonna quit, but but I ended up staying and I actually like it. So with that said, I'm actually working Home Depot part time because I'm used to working. I always kind of had like at least 2 jobs my whole life or something. I'm a hustler a little bit. I get it. So with that said, I ended up getting a second job at Home Depot, part time, working in Millworks. Yeah, doors and windows. Yeah, I'm a little tired. I've been like I said, I've been up editing videos, so I'm sorry if I kind of make some pauses and I'm slurring a little bit. I'll definitely try my best to speak clearly here. You know what I mean? Uh, so yeah, shit. Millworks. There we go. See, again, I apologize. So Millworks, working in Millworks, windows and doors. I'm a specialist there. Helping out designing doors. And of course, in regular stock and things like that. So I work there. I'm working there. Like I said, I'm liking it. I'm getting like a $600-700, check every 2 weeks. So I didn't spend that money, so that money was just stacking. So at this point, I'm having a nice little fat, bank account. You know what I'm saying? Nice little savings, nice little bank account. Things looking good. I'm comfortable. I'm feeling myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm confident. I got money. No girl can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in here just, ball slinging. You dig? So I was, yeah, hey, as a man, you making money, you doing good, you stable. Hey, nobody can tell you anything. You know what I mean? So with that said, I was feeling good. So I didn't even buy a car yet. So with that said, I'm working for the job. Unfortunately, me leaving that company actually didn't work out the way that I planned because my thing was to wait till this job was over. I was actually looking at different places. I didn't know anything about San Antonio, but I saw Converse was a little cheaper, and then it was kind of further out of the city because I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of tired of the hustle and bustle a little bit. So I was going to move out there and things, but it kind of didn't work out. So I was already looking at an apartment. I think it was, I can't think of the name of the apartment's name anyway, but there were new ones. Based on your income, I was thinking I would have got a 2-bedroom for like 9 something because I have a 14-year-old son. So, when I'm spending time in, I want him to have his own room, excuse me. That way, when he comes over, he's not sleeping on the couch. Because I used to stay at my dad's house and things when I was younger, and I'm sleeping on the couch. He got a 1-bedroom, so I didn't want that feeling for him. So I want him to come here and feel like, this was his place too, type stuff. So with that said, I was trying to find a 2-bedroom. That didn't work out with the company, of course. So I ended up kind of getting terminated. And that's another story for another day. I will definitely get into that because I kind of got hold on that situation. However, I had an option to kind of, handle that and sue the company. But again, I'll get into that later. We'll talk about that at another time to have more topics to talk about. So with that said, and then getting terminated, I'm only working for Home Depot. Once I got terminated, of course, I didn't have any place to stay at that time. So of course I'm renting out a what do they call rent? they're hotels, but you can extended stays. See, again, I'm tired. I've been editing videos. So extended stay. I stayed there for, I don't know, maybe a week or two, 2 weeks, something like that. Because, until I was figuring out something to do. I wasn't really worried about money too much. I wasn't, but at the same time, I didn't really know anyone out here. And again, my plans that I planned really didn't work out the way I did. So I was kind of like, a little like, I don't know, how can I like say, like I felt alone more or less. And then I wasn't really stable. So I kind of, felt like, maybe wasn't a good idea. But again, I still have my job at Home Depot. So it was still working out. I still had money coming in, nothing crazy. So I'm working there, and my mom calls me, and she's like, maybe your dad, he said you can come stay out there and see you figure something out. So I kind of took my dad up on that option, basically. So I ended up transferring Home Depot to Jersey Village out in Houston. So, and then the crazy thing, it wasn't even that long. I wasn't even at Home Depot that long, not even a month, maybe. Not even, maybe 2 months. Not that long. Because I think I ended up getting like maybe 2 or 3 checks from Home Depot here in San Antonio before I transferred. But anyway, so I transferred out there to Jersey Village. So I'm out there working and stuff like that. So with that said, I'm at Home Depot. I get there, and I'm like, I'm thinking like, you know what? I was like, it didn't work out. Again, I'm older. So I was like, maybe I should just kind of see where I can go at Home Depot, and it made sense. And then I actually did like working there. Again, I'm, construction work. I do electrical work, and I like to think I'm an amateur carpenter because I like to work with, as far as building like tables. Because one of the things I wanted to do when I came out here was to start like a furniture company and things like that, building wood. You get the wood slabs, tree slabs, and your epoxy, and basically making the custom tables and things like that. I'm into stuff like that. I like watching was it Black Trail? I might be wrong. I'm thinking, but anyway, it's a YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm shout them out later. But yeah, I watch that a lot. So, and it kind of got me interested in doing that because I see it's something I can do. It's not easy, but it's something. It looks like something I can do. So I wanted to try it. I started off making coasters with the epoxy and things, and it worked out. So. And I was able to get rid of them, some of them. But I figured, move up from like coasters to maybe doing cutting boards and then tables, chairs, things like that. So that was kind of a goal, of me to kind of, put me in that place as being an entrepreneur and whatnot, and start like a mill or something out here in San Antonio. I kind of had that all in my head and shit. So with that said, I was like, but me working at Home Depot, I was like, I'm gonna work here, try to strive, and Home Depot is gonna buy my house. That's what I kept saying. Home Depot, you're gonna buy my house. So while I'm working there, I'm picking out everything I want in my house. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm gonna get this, all this other extra shit. So, so I was like, I'm gonna strive up. So I'm working for Home Depot. I'm looking into the company really to see what they really can offer me as far as if it's really worth me staying here. So I really started learning about the company and shit and the values and all that. So I was like, all right, I might like, I might like it here. Then the people at Jersey Village actually made it, me like to want to stay there. Because as I'm getting there, they see I'm working hard, doing what I need to do. 3 months go by, you know what I mean? And maybe not even 3 months. I think maybe a month or 2. It was pretty quick, because when you start at Home Depot, sometimes they start you off a part-time. I started as a part-time employee. Next thing you know, I'm in Jersey Village. They see I'm working and everything. They asked me to come in. I'm showing up and whatnot. And then finally they asked me if I want to full. They didn't even ask me for full time. They was just seeing I'm working. Because I kind of went to that Home Depot in Jersey Village, kind of letting them know that I wanted a leadership position. I kind of said that right off the bat. I told them I'm older. I'm looking for a career. Before I transferred, and I was like, I would love to be a supervisor or leader in here, as far as growing with the company. That's why. And they were like, okay, they actually ran with that. So as with that said, I'm sure they were watching me. They said I was working, doing good. I ended up getting a raise, and that was before Home Depot gave all the raises to everybody, because I got another raise. So they gave me a raise. They see I'm working, got that raise. They see I'm working and everything. It wasn't much, but it was better than what I was making. So I think it ended up going up to, because I think they started me off at $14.50 or something. Then it ended up going to 16 when I went to Jersey Village. Then after that, it went up to 18. And after that, yeah. Like some, yeah. So with that said, it went up to that. But that was when, so I got the 16, then I ended up getting 18. But once I got to 1850 is what they gave me. I ended up going to overnight recovery because they seen I was working. They see I was doing stuff. So they asked me if I wanted to, try overnight recovery and see how I'm doing. So I'm thinking like, oh, they tested me. Like, okay, they want me to see how I, work. So I took it on, you know what I'm saying? So I did. I did good. No complaints. Ain't nothing to complain. I love doing this shit. Come in, get on the forklift, make sure the rocks and shit stock just, because I'm real tedious. Like, maybe not. I mean, my room's dirty, so I ain't gonna say I'm tedious. But when it comes to work, I like stuff to look nice and presented and stuff. And so when people see it, they be like, oh, so that's what it was. So I would do that, do that in recovery and garden recovery, by the way. So, I'm having the mulch, the rocks, decorations for the garden, everything just basically packed, stacked, looking nice and, out and open, ready for the store to open in the morning. So, so I'm doing that for a minute and things like that. Of course, supervisor position comes around. So, of course, I get the interview and all that shit. Yeah, it works out. So, with that said, I'm there. So as I'm there working and shit, I don't know. I was like really like San Antonio was still in the back of my head, in other words, because the whole reason why I wanted to stay was my son, and that's what I kept saying. I'm making money at Home Depot. I'm doing good. I want a career at Home Depot. Not only just trying to move up. I'm thinking district manager, store manager, something like that. Because I'm looking at, I'm not gonna lie. I want a nice little, 6 figures, 900,000, 90 to 100,000 a year, if not, because it's possible. With Home Depot. So I'm looking at that, at that. So, because, eventually I want to settle down. I want a family and all that shit. I'm older, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get myself together to be prepared for, whoever I will meet in the future, basically. And that's what I was really trying to set myself up for. And then also I have a 14-year-old son, who'll be 18 soon. So, I'm trying to get ready for him and have things ready when he's 18, buying him a car and all that extra shit and things like that, So that's what I'm all thinking about. That's what I'm about. So, I'm single, just trying to focus. Not trying to worry about women, none of that stuff, things like that. Because, at that time it wasn't important. So, so with that, I'm working and everything in Jersey Village. Again, San Antonio's the back of my mind. Thinking about my son and all that. So, I'm thinking about transferring back, So I was like, I really liked it out there, and then of course, I'm in Houston and I kind of felt kind of restricted a little bit. And I love my family, don't get me wrong. I like being around them. I love them all and things like that. But I just felt like, it wasn't my path or my calling, really. I feel like I work better as far as getting myself situated by myself and being away from like my family and things, because I feel like, and it's nothing against them. It's just, I just feel like, it motivates me more because I don't have them around to really depend on type shit, So that's kind of why I put myself in certain situations, to really test myself and to really see if I can, make it. So that's what it is, basically. So, that's in the back of my mind. So with that said, I'm working and everything. I'm letting them know I want to transfer back. They kind of upset because they like me. And they didn't understand. They know I'm working hard. We getting shit done. The, fucking receiving's empty. Everything's out. Like, we doing it, bro. We getting praises. They love it. Like, thank you. Things like that, and I'm one of the best workers. Not the best, but I'm one of them. Like, it was 3 of us. It was me, my boy Darius, and shout out to Eno. You know what I'm saying? He's from New Orleans. So it was us 3, you know what I'm saying? We all work good, and shout out to Connie. Connie, look, you may not see this, but Connie, when I came to San Antonio, I missed you. I'll just be real with you. I should have never left. You was strict, but I miss you. So anyway, but with that said, leave it at that. So yeah, I'm transferring back, and they were cool about it, nothing like that, nothing crazy, but they didn't want me to leave either, because they have to find somebody to replace me. So with that said, they approve. I end up getting coming out here to fucking San Antonio, because again, I want to be close to my son. So I come back out here, I think October the 23rd or 22nd, something like that, of 2023. That's when I end up in the share housing, like I told you when I met that girl and all this other extra stuff I was talking about later. That's where all that is. So I ended up staying there. I stayed there I moved in before that girl did. So I was already there for maybe a month or two. She moved in like December or something like that. So it actually it was December the 5th because the lady I was staying with was telling me that people were going to be coming by seeing the rooms, and she just wanted to make sure I was okay with that and all that. You know, like I said, real sweet lady, which I don't understand why she couldn't, make it work with her. But anyway, so with that said, I move in and things like that in San Antonio, in Marbach, actually. Excuse me. Yeah, in Marbach. If you're from here, you know where that's at. All right. On that side of town, I really didn't like that side of town. I don't like it because where we was in, I don't know. I got to a point where I got the custom. I'm getting older now, nigga. I like staying somewhere nice. Goddamn it, like I like seeing nice shit. I want a Plaza, Walmart, a Target, and shit, all that shit around me and things like that. I want shit. So I like this area where I'm at. So I would come and I worked out here at the Home Depot. So I was like, this is a decent area. And where I was, I don't know. I didn't feel for it. So I wanted to come on this side of town. So yeah, I ended up doing that, working on at that Home Depot and shit like that. Back to overnight. Somehow I'm like back to receiving all that extra shit when I'm, anyway. But yeah, so I'm fucking doing that, overnight stocking and shit like that. So, which is crazy. So I go in there and let them know. I want to be the store manager or one of them, not like like the head, but like a customer service store manager or anything. Because they think I'm just trying to be a supervisor. No, I'm trying to move up in the company, man. I'm trying to go to the top. You feel me? So, with that said, I kind of ran into the overnight manager. Me and him bumped heads like a motherfucker, dude. Because he has like this way of talking to people, and it's like, I don't know. It sounds like he's like talking down and kind of like being like real snarky and a smart ass, and just, you ask him a question, he got a smart ass answer. You dig? So I'm looking at this dude like, bruh, like, and then he's one of them people, I've been with Home Depot for so long, all this stuff. Yeah, but you work shit. Anyway, so so I'm working there. Like I said, me and him bumping heads because, I'm coming from Jersey Village. I'm learning from them. Things a little different at this store. I'm kind of seeing things that can be done better. Shit's around here like fucked up. We're using a goddamn fucking ladder and shit that's wobbly, leaning and things like that. Because Home Depot's supposed to be real big on safety and PPE and all that stuff, and and just falling safety. You feel me? So that's important. So everything was unsafe in that motherfucker. You feel me? So I kind of pointed out because he would try to point stuff out that we were doing and things like that. So I'm like, bro. So I would point out stuff that he needed to be doing as manager. Cause I know his job. I know it. I can do it. So I knew what the fuck. But he wasn't doing it. Shit. He riding up and down this motherfucker with the reach and shit. You know what I'm saying? Looking like he doing something. Cause I don't know what he's doing. Cause I don't see him throwing shit up. But he just holding up a reach where people can actually be trying to get shit done. So, and then next, we trying to get the reach at the last minute. Now I'm trying to put up shit when I'm really supposed to be going home. You feel me? So, with that said, we bumping heads. He pissing me off, So I'm just kind of just letting them know, man. Like, not, respectfully. Not like, disrespectful. Because I know how to act. I know how to be professional and things like that. If you can see my videos, sometimes I kind of switch in and out. And I try to be professional, but then I come out, so I can't help it sometimes. So, like I said, sometimes we need to be on code and know how to act, But if I'm at work, I keep the professional hat on. But with that said, yeah. So I'm kind of letting him know and, things, and he bumping heads. And I know he don't like me. I don't like him either. And so I get this one guy in Garden, because again, Garden is one of the hardest departments in Home Depot and there, because it's big. You got a lot of shit to deal with, a bunch of shit that's in Garden and everything and shit like that. So I'm doing Garden and chemicals and all that extra shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing outside Garden, doing the chemicals and things. I did that in Jerseyville store, but my store was a little bit smaller than that one. Than the one I was, I came out here to work in San Antonio. So little things were a little different. So, so I got used to it though. So I'm trying to hurry up and get everything done in Garden. And then we still got shit in receiving, I remind you. So I'm trying to ask them, what do you want to do with it? Because, this is how we work in our store. Our manager working overnight, depending who, because, we always have our regular manager. Like I said, I probably shouldn't have said her name, but I did. Y'all know who she is. But that was my manager. She was our night manager, making sure shit got done. So with that said, talking to her, we got stuff done. In other words, where I was getting at, if she's not working, if we have a manager working or whatever, then like taking them covered. They help. They ask, what do we need? Do you need anything? Can I help? Do you need something thrown up with the reach? And if we say,